Dre Montez here with me today.
Hello, good people.
Yes. So, Dre, can you tell me a little bit about, first of all, how did we meet, and can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Just so that way I kind of know you a little bit, but most of the people may not necessarily know you.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I get that. Dre Montez, former, I guess, sports talk radio. I did talk radio AM style between Charlotte, North Carolina, Shreveport, Louisiana, and St. Louis, Missouri for about 20 years. And I ventured off into the podcasting world about 10 years ago. Just trying to get my feet wet. It was something out at the same time because I was about to retire from softball. So I was looking for another hobby to pick up, and this came along. And not really knowing that much about it in the beginning, but getting my feet wet. I enjoy talking. I love sports, and I love meeting new and interesting people. And it just took on a whole new level. And then I saw radio making a shift in the curve, not the Howard Stern shift when Sirius Radio kind of challenged everybody in their loyalty to talk radio kind of caused a shift. But it was a shift that I saw coming in talk radio, in the future of radio, that something different was coming. And luckily, I got a whiff of it and got out of radio at the right time and jumped on the introduction of podcasting and getting to know it better. But I had a little incident with my vision, and it caused a little hiccup. But we picked back up and got back on it. So now I'm going into my officially my 7th year of podcasting and live streaming. At first, coming from radio, I just did talk. I didn't do any video because in radio is just the people in the box. You're just looking at the box. You don't know what they look like.
So when you covered radio, what sports did you cover? Was it all of the sports in which that you covered, or was it just specific ones that you covered?
It was never a particular sport. In Charlotte, I started out, because that's NASCAR hub, and I have a very satisfactory knowledge of NASCAR, and I use that as my way in. But football, basketball, baseball, the major sports I'm really into.
Okay, what's your favorite?
To talk about is football.
Yes.
To talk about, but to watch.
Good choice.
To watch and have a good banter with is baseball.
Really?
I could talk hours about baseball. I mean,
see, because I'm kind of like more of the football guy, I guess, because it's more fast paced and there's a lot more action, or like soccer if you're into soccer. But like baseball to me is just kind of, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but it's kind of almost boring because it's just the same, like you've got your 3 outs. But I guess if you were the...
it's so romantic,
yeah,
baseball is a love story.
True. You could actually, but I guess if you were watching it, I can see where if you were watching football, would be the fast paced because there's always a play. There's always some action. But with baseball, I think I can see where if you were the broadcaster or talking about it, could be more, like you said, you could be more romanticize it.
Yeah.
Or have like a storyline to tell with it.
It's fascinating about baseball. Just sit back watching him. Like I love day baseball. It's like one of my favorite things to attend or to watch because the commentary, since I lost my vision, the commentary is totally different. Like I went to my very first Cardinal game 2 weeks ago, and I sat in the green seats. I've been all over that stadium. I've sat in VIP. I've been with a television, with a radio. I've been all over that stadium where they play the organ. I've been all over the place, even the dugout, but never sat in the green seats. I saw baseball in a way that blew my mind. Like I was 3 rows back. I mean, I can see the dust come off their hand as they're getting ready in the
players.
Yeah.
And the way that the camaraderie between the players, the coaches yelling at them.
Oh, yeah.
When they strike out, you can see their facial expressions. Yeah, I can see that.
The umpires, they're pretty big. Umpires are huge.
Yeah. They actually
damn. You look short on TV, man.
You look tiny compared to the other players out there.
But baseball and football has a special place. That's why I do my show. It took me a while to figure out when to do the show, how long, and when to take off. So it took me a little time to figure that out, but now I'm pretty comfortable in the schedule that I have.
Perfect.
with that.
When you talk about your show, what kind of process did you go through to pick out like how long you did? Because okay, let's be completely honest. One of the new things is podcasts. Everybody wants to do a podcast. Everybody has an idea. Same way with social media. It's a great exposure. But how did you find your niche? How did you find how long you would want to do it? What you wanted to say? All of that. How did you build your brand?
So coming from radio, I took it a different way because I did a 2-hour show by myself. So that's every 20 minutes, then a break. 20 minutes and a break. I did a 1-hour show. I've done a 3-hour show. So I kind of used the sense of radio in developing my podcast. But when I first started podcasting, coming from radio, I was doing a 2-hour show, like nonstop. And to me, that was fun. Because
and I'm over here
I'm
going
hard in for a good 2 hours, just talking. And after the vision situation happened with me, how can I turn this into money? Let's break it down to its purest form. So that's when I went back and looked at the video, and I looked at the algorithms and paid attention when people were really clicking it. So I figured out that first 2 minutes is where you get you. You get the audience.
Okay.
You can go 8 to 12, but I choose to go 20 to 32 minutes now. And that has seemed to work out a whole lot better for me.
So it keeps your audience captivated.
Keeps it to the point. I try to treat it like a sitcom without the commercials. You know, your average sitcom with commercials is 22 minutes because they got 8 minutes of advertising. So I try to implement commercials in my show to go along with, to clear up that whole slot. That's the way I do it. But everybody has their own way of doing it from here and there. But when you figure out your niche and the time with your content and with your audience, it becomes a whole lot clearer. Because a lot of people doing podcasts just for fun with their buddies and their friends or whatever. But the ones that are trying to actually add to monetize it, when you look at the numbers, it becomes really, really clear on what you're trying to do. So just pay attention to the numbers. That's all I'm trying to say.
Pay attention to the numbers, actually. Yes, that's actually kind of a rule of thumb that I think most people, if you want to grow, like say your business or your social media platform or like that, is to pay attention to the numbers because the numbers talk.
And to answer your question, the way we met was through Stu and Darren Yates.
Yes.
At the Angry Beaver Cardinals home opener.
I think so. And they were doing a live
show.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
That was all over the place. But it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I'm sure that's a lot of fun too if you have the stomach to be able to just pick up from wherever and just go. And I think that to me is something that I would truthfully aspire to as well, is to be able to have like the capability of just picking up a topic and just going with it.
Yeah, and that's another good thing about podcasting and live streaming, the ability to jump on other shows, to put what you do, maybe you catch somebody from there, and vice versa. I tell everybody, get on as many shows as possible and vice versa. Jump on many shows and get people on your shows as well. Just spread the love and the wealth. Like we were having a conversation on the way here, Stu and I, about, nobody wants to be the only ball on the block anymore. Those days are over. Nobody wants to be the only person podcasting out of the clique of the group. Get everybody involved.
Everybody involved, yeah.
Makes it much better for everybody. A lot more fun, too.
So you had mentioned that you had an accident when it caused your vision. What actually, if you don't mind me asking, what actually happened and how did that affect your life? Because it kind of sounds like, based on what you're telling me a little bit, that it was kind of life-changing.
Oh, it
and sent you in a different direction, perhaps?
Yeah, it definitely was. Like any other day, I woke up. I was wearing contacts at the time. I had just retired from competitive softball, probably 2 years. And I was about to transition and go back to glasses. I'm not playing ball no more. And I woke up this particular morning, 65-inch TV right in front of me, and it was blurry. So I was like, it's time to change the contacts anyway. So I went ahead and made the appointment with my doctor. Get to my doctor. She turns on the light, takes off her glasses and says, I think you're having a stroke. There's no way your vision deteriorated this fast. I'm like, what?
Oh my goodness.
She's like, there's no way. She said, go get some blood work right now. I think you're having a stroke. So I'm thinking right side or left arm. She said, no, those are not always the case in everyone. She said, there's no way your vision dropped that fast. So after months and months and months of testing all this and this, comes out that I have LHON, Leber's hereditary optical neuropathy. So I lost my center vision. So sitting across from this table, I can't see your complete face.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to see, I promise. I promise. Sorry.
Ain't what I heard.
You ain't missing much.
Ain't what I heard up there.
I'm just saying, it's all right. Sorry, but it's all right. You're not missing much.
So I had a transportation job,
Okay.
driving golf carts back and forth to the Cardinal games and Blues games and downtown events. So now I can't do that anymore.
Of course.
Can't deal with money.
Because you can't see the
Can't
denominations.
see. And got frustrated, sold my car really, really cheap because I was mad. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do. I mean, where to turn, what to do. It just, the next probably 3 days, I was just really mad. I don't want to say depressed. I was mad because I didn't know what to do. Too old to borrow money from my parents.
I'm sure that's probably scary too, because you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Everything that I've known up until this point is now different. Same way with most people who can relate to that. There's a life-changing event that everything that you've known up until this point is now gone and different.
Gone.
What do you do?
It's gone. I mean, it was a crazy 3 days, and then I went through probably a good 14 to 18 months of just trying to figure something out. But thank God for the United States Navy and the veterans, being a vet, because I have a television that reads my mail and talks to me. It's a magnifier.
Yeah.
So having that device makes things, living as a low vision person by yourself, makes things doable where you don't need that
I
much
was going to
assistance.
say, so you are able to
Yeah.
live by yourself and still, which is probably a blessing.
But they offered to send me someone to train me how to live by myself with vision issues up in Chicago for 6 to 8 weeks. But I thought to myself, I even told my dad this, I think somebody else could probably utilize that spot that really needs it other than me. Because daytime is much better than nighttime. Crowds, I don't do crowds.
No.
Freaks me out.
Most of us.
You should have saw me when I went camping and saw a damn raccoon. Lord have mercy.
Did you know what it was, though?
I didn't know what it was.
Because you're from the
I
city.
jumped up on the
You're
bench.
from the city. You're probably, what the hell was that?
It didn't look like a raccoon. It looked like something that was not from here. But just kept looking at me.
I bet it did. It was like,
Set that right.
what you want? I would eat your food. Would you turn off the lights?
They stole the coffee mug.
Sit in your trash can eating your food.
Yeah, they took the food out the skillet. I'm like, just
Yeah, that's raccoons for you. Yes,
criminals. But,
yeah, that's awesome.
but it's much better now. I'm dealing with it a whole lot better, and my support staff around me,
Good.
from medical to family, my sister, my dad. It's just,
So saying that the never die attitude and always trying to strive to succeed has moved you past the life altering experience.
yeah, I think
That just shows you not to give up. That just shows you that there's so many times that you can run into something that's like life changing, but to never actually give up, because there is hope. There is ways to adjust. There is ways to not stop. Huh. Yeah, because I mean, because if you think about it, when you talk to most people are like, "Oh my God, I'm going through a divorce. Oh my gosh, there was a death," which all is like I said, life changing. But it's how you perceive the change and what you want to do with yourself and how much you want to make your life better, which I think is admirable.
it's kind of like this new series I'm thinking about starting. Boundaries, knowing your boundaries and understanding your path. I think when you put those two together,
It's so hard.
it makes things doable. It doesn't make it's like people with the vision board or the writing it down. As simplistic as you can get it, it makes it more doable. Putting a list of 10, I think you're not going to do that.
Correct.
If you make the list 3 things every day, that's doable. That's obtainable. That's goalable. But when you put 10 things on the list every day, you're not being real with yourself. You're lying to yourself. The more truthful you are with yourself and to make your goals more doable, it makes the task that much easier.
I was going to say you could be a master at some things, but you can't be a master at everything.
Right.
That concept of you can be a master at a few items to pick what you're good at, but you can't be a master at everything.
It's what women say, don't waste my time. And what I always tell men, understand time. We all know it's 24 hours in a day, or you're utilizing that time well.
And you can't get time back. That is the
At
only
all.
commodity that you cannot get back.
That's why I hate watching bad movies and people waste my time on
with the
bad
wrong
dates.
people.
Yeah, come on.
Work and following the wrong. I mean, come on. Literally, you cannot get that time back.
I
no
try to
matter
tell
what.
you time is valuable. But they don't listen all the time.
Yes. So you talk about doing the podcast. Where do you, when you say you were originally from Charlotte, I'm assuming, and you've moved to St. Louis, where do you claim as your part of St. Louis? Because
I am born and raised in St. Louis.
Good.
I was born and raised here. Yeah,
Born and
but I
raised in St. Louis. Left. No, I don't know if that's allowed though.
I joined the Navy.
Okay. Excusable. I guess you can't join the Navy and still
I
be here.
joined the Navy, people.
I was gonna say, I guess you can't join the Navy and still stay here. But awesome. So what part would you say you would? What part do you claim?
I claim downtown 14th and Shoto,
Okay.
known as the Projects, and I
Okay.
also claim the Grove 14th, Gibson and Taylor, because I moved from 14th and Shoto to Gibson
Okay.
and Taylor. So
Okay.
the Midtown, I saw
Yep.
the Grove whole transformation. Like when nobody wanted to come to the damn
The
Grove.
Grove.
It was more of the woof.
Let's just roll through.
It's like, but now it's like the go-to
I was gonna
spot.
say, because I'm pretty sure I've been to the Grove.
Yeah, it's
Just-
the beautification
yes,
committee
Very
right
much
now.
so.
But in the beginning, the rough stages in building before they tore down the bridge twice on Kings Highway by O'Fallon. Still got to talk about that. Taxpayers. Who decision was that?
Apparently, they did not discuss it with
Yeah,
the
all of that. It
ones
looks-
that pay the taxes. Just saying, they made that decision on their own. They did not discuss it with the ones that pay the taxes.
I always wanted to know who is the person who oversees the major books. Is
Ones
there
that do
one
not consult.
person?
I do believe.
I just think they just sit in a room by themselves and they don't carry the one or the two.
And they said, this looks like a good idea, we're going with it. And I don't care, we did not consult with anybody
I
on
don't
this
think
one.
they shop in real time. I think they buy in bulk, even for their home. Because I look at certain things like that. That makes no sense to me.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. But then again, they did not consult us. So,
They never do. They never do.
so you are, it sounds like you're pretty active with your podcast and stuff, but what do you do with your free time?
That's a great question. So, working for yourself, of course, you got to come up with a schedule.
Yes.
And you got to figure out how to pay yourself. You got to figure out how
Yes.
to make that work. With podcasts, you got to sell the show. So having a radio background, I know how to sell advertising very damn good. So I know how to look at the numbers when people are doing radio and television and running a print ad. And I see and I know the client I'm like, hold on now, you run a commercial, you got a radio ad, and you doing print. You have podcasting dollars to me if you can do all that.
Right.
So what I do in the off season, I sell the show. I don't sell any advertising once because I go from September into April.
Good. I was glad you clarified. what
September,
your show
April.
was.
That's when I go, and I do Monday through Saturday, but I do 4 different shows.
Okay.
Monday through Friday, I do Montez at midday. Every Monday, I do a show called D&D Don't Get Butthurt, my co-host Denise. Every Wednesday, I put out a
Don't get
new...
butthurt. I love that. Don't get butthurt. Don't watch the show. You're going to get butthurt. Because you're going to get butthurt.
You ought to see her. She definitely will make you fucking hurt.
Sorry.
the thing she
I
said.
just think that's awesome. You watch the show and you got butthurt. That's your own problem.
It's not for the week.
Correct.
And then every Wednesday, I put out a new podcast episode of Who's to Blame the Podcast. And then every Saturday, I do a college football show for 3 hours straight from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. called College Football Show with a guy out of Jacksonville, Florida, my dude Ray.
Okay. Let's go.
So I do 6 days a week with my show starting in September.
Busy. Busy, busy.
But it's a good busy. You know, if you're doing what you love, it's not work.
Correct.
It's just passion.
Correct.
That's all it is.
It's never work whenever
No.
you enjoy doing it.
I haven't worked hard since 1982.
1982. Ooh, that was before I was born.
Why people always do that? Why do people? That's not my problem. Not my problem.
Barely before
That's
I was born.
between you and your parents.
That was barely before I was born.
A
But
little
that was
pop was
before I was
probably
born.
saying, "Mom, give it to me. Why I gotta wait?" You know.
Yes, please.
Every time somebody tell me that, I wasn't born then. I
don't
talk
care.
to your daddy. He wanted some a little earlier. He wanted you earlier.
I don't care. I don't care when you were born. Congratulations. You want a cookie? Because that's usually my go-to. Congratulations. You want a cookie? You're a whole lot younger than me. Congratulations. But rarely do I get to, truth be told though, I rarely get to say that when I'm like, so you were born for me. Yes. I'm not the old one.
It's very seldom I've talked to someone on my show that was born the same time I was. It's happened. I've had a few people on my age bracket, you know, with a 4 in front, but not too many with a 5 right there with me. But I enjoy my age. I don't think I definitely don't act 53.
I was going to say, and that's seems to be your wheelhouse is the broadcasting and the talking and the radio, which parlays into the podcast. All of that seems to be your wheelhouse and what you actually enjoy. So why would you not go until as long as you possibly can doing something that you enjoy, especially if you can make money at it?
What's crazy is that the sign, you know, people as they get older, and whether you get religious with it or not, or with your grandparents, somebody old told you this story. You were doing something when you were young, and you look back at what you're doing now in your profession as a grown person, it was always in you. But for some reason, you denied it. I was doing talk radio in the 6th grade every Saturday because this group I was with, this enrichment group I was
Montez,
with.
there with his stuff.
Every Saturday. I
Every
was doing it.
Saturday, instead of playing out in the streets doing God knows what, he in there doing his broadcast. Oh, yes.
We were talking about going into high school and what we perceive as education for our people that are coming behind us, i.e. a brother or sister or your cousins or even somebody in your neighborhood that's going to go through the same school you went to. What would you want that school to have that they don't have now? So it was like that.
let's put this even deeper. You were in 6th grade adding value. It wasn't just bullshitting about something that made no sense at all, like some girl that was hot or some party you're going to. You actually added value.
We had a curriculum. We had to write down what we were going to discuss. I was part of Junior Achievement, and it was on Washington and Taylor. It was an old radio station, AM radio station. Went every Saturday for 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
And then I get in the Navy and I'm speaking to people with a microphone. I still deny it.
Huh.
And I look at all my levels of life as always
Let's just be real. You just pretended like you denied it. You embraced it from the beginning. You said, I don't want this. Oh, yes, I really do. I'm going to do this. I'm awesome. Nope, not going to claim it. I'm really good at this, though.
It's fun.
Good.
It's the people you meet, the place you get to go.
And the places and for me, it's what you get, like you said, with the people that you get to meet, but you get to learn about so much more. You get to learn about somebody's lifestyle, the way that they've walked, how they've made themselves successful, the struggles that they've made to what they're into, and you get to learn so much about the city too. Like with here in St. Louis, different parts, different people, different cultures, different ways of being, not originally being from St. Louis. It's really kind of neat to, like I said, to find people like you who've lived down in downtown to in the county, so all across down to Bevo Mill. It's kind of crazy to see how each person has a different perspective of what the city offered them when they grew up.
That is so true, because that's the one thing in St. Louis has. Everybody talks about what high school did you go to?
Yes.
That's the thing. Yes. I went to Sumner High School, class of 89. But that's like one of the things that comes up.
Sorry. Okay, I'm kidding. I gotta harass you because, like I said, I'm usually the old one in the group. So I'm like, oh boy, gotta have to dig this one in a little deeper because I'm not the old one.
It's a good friend of mine I drink with my local watering hole in my neighborhood. Graduated high school in 2003. In 2003. And I'm like,
I was probably married and had a couple kids, and by then,
don't get me started on marriage, girl. 4 times for me.
oh my goodness, oh my
4
goodness.
times. The key there, I'm not buying any more rings.
Facts. Okay, now that since you brought that up, since we're gonna have this is a hot topic all the time. So you've been married 4 times. Would you ever do that again, or if hindsight, would you do the whole like? I eloped and then had a reception because let's be real. If I were to ever do it again, I would elope and be like, peace out. I'm not spending much money, but everybody can celebrate me.
No.
What would you do?
None of it.
None of it?
I would
None
never
of
do
it?
it. I would have a life partner, but I don't want to go through that whole paper, priest, courthouse, secret. No. No. No.
A life partner, but more of
That's it.
the commitment to where they
That's
choose
it.
you. Yes.
That's it. I
Yes.
just don't. I'm an ordained minister. I've done 4 weddings. Everyone's still married. I've had a big wedding. I've had 2 courthouse weddings. I married one lady twice.
Ooh.
And I had a romantic wedding. I had a romantic wedding, a big wedding, and 2 courthouses. 2 black ladies and 2 white ladies.
I'm not even going to comment. Sorry, I was just going
You can't get a word in.
I will leave that one alone.
Got an old Southerner and an Irish woman. Oh boy, you're not winning no arguments there, are you, Drake? Not at all.
That's probably
Not
why
at all.
he's well behaved.
Not at
right
all.
now. Just say it. That's probably why he's well behaved.
No wonder he holds the door open for people.
No, right? Just go to the train.
He's learned his lesson.
Facts. That's awesome. Sorry. Because you ain't wrong.
Oh
you
my
know
God.
you're not wrong.
Oh my God. Stereotypes all day, shit true.
It's amazing. So, to pull it back a little bit into what we were talking about, you've been in the business or the industry for a while.
Mm-hmm.
How has your perception changed? Because I'm sure if I haven't even, like I said, with social media and all of that stuff with AI, ChatGPT, down to all of the things that you can do electronically, how has your perception of the industry changed and grown over time?
In the beginning of podcasting,
Dot.
it was so expensive because you had to buy the program. And there was no equipment the way there is now. Now your phone is compatible. Your tablet is compatible. Everything, even your television, everything is compatible for you to do a podcast. You don't need nothing to start a podcast. Just your content, bring it. But at that time, you needed that program. That program was $350, I do believe.
When you say
Just
program, sorry to
to
interrupt.
record your audio.
Gotcha.
The
Gotcha.
interface that you needed. I can't remember what it was called then. But that right there. And then your microphone. You had to get the right microphone because at that time, even laptop microphones were pretty crappy. So
the quality.
But how easy it is now to hit record is impressive to me. Because since COVID, it's like people discovered their own hidden truths about education and about work and about financial stability. People went out there and just, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And for the people that have figured it out and is clicking, good for you. And the ones that are on the edge right now, I don't know if it's really for me. I get the hesitation because there's a constant change every 3 weeks in the podcasting world. Every 3 weeks, there's something new coming out. And you can get caught up in all the bells and the whistles. It's like people that refuse to go to the doctor, but they will go to WebMD in a minute. You have to be careful. Just stay on that path that you're on. It's okay to window shop, but all the things that are coming out are really not necessarily for your type of show that you're doing. But the things that are coming out with, it's just how easy it is, especially for sighted people. Everything is small and compact and boom, boom, boom. For people with low vision, they're small and compact, but it takes a little bit more time to utilize to get its true features out because everything, I have big hands and big fingers.
I can't hit those little bitty buttons. I don't know who these devices are for.
Not for normal sized people.
Right. So with
Oh wait,
that,
let's rephrase. We're not normal sized people. So maybe it is for normal sized people, and we're just the
some
anomaly.
short ass people out there with little bitty fingers. Right. What I look at.
Little teeny tiny people who can push the little teeny tiny buttons.
But I think, like for you starting out, what you're into, I think it's the perfect time. It's just a matter of hitting go.
Yeah, that's I think the hardest part.
It's the go thing.
For
a lot
most
of people
people.
look at it as auditioning for a movie. Well, I've never acted before. You don't have to put a camera on you. You can just record your voice until you feel comfortable enough to talking, getting your right points, look at your camera without looking up, see if you did booger sugar last night or all that crap.
Or looking at
But
your.
just
I'm looking
talk.
at my makeup, by the way, just so you know, to make sure I did it correctly.
But a lot of people are intimidated by the way they sound and the way they look.
Yes, they
And I'm
used to
like-
always say that with like modeling and so forth too, is that you have to get used to the way that people perceive you. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're having a mirror reflection. So you don't actually see what people see. You see a mirror reflection. But when you take a picture or when you're on camera and you're moving, you actually see a totally different view or totally different. And you have to get used to what that looks like because you don't see it every day. So
Right.
to you, you're like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Oh my God, I'm going to pick this apart. Oh my God, my hair's out of place. Why does my shirt not tucked in?
Why is my fro tilted back here?
Why do I look old? Just because I was born. And ... we won't talk about it, but why do I look old? Should have drank water today. I missed my gallon
I
of
walked
water.
out of the corner of my eye better than that. What's wrong with you?
Damn it, to the Botox.
But it's
Dang it, the
those
water
little
is not
things
working.
help, though. A checklist helps. So I have beside me in my studio, I have a checklist. I have 5 things I check for, and I look at that before I hit record or
Nice.
live. I look at that. If all those things that I checked, it's going to be crazy because I did a show one time. I talked for 47 minutes and didn't hit record.
No. No.
And it was one of those shows I was very passionate about.
I was getting ready to say,
And
passionate.
I had the hands, I had the facial expression. I was like really invested in this episode. And it took me a minute to go back and record that show and try to recreate that. And it just wasn't the same.
God, that would be just...
So ever since
Wah,
that
wah,
time,
wah.
I write down the 5 things I got to do. Make sure
Make
everything is
sure
in point.
you hit record.
And then the visual boards I have in front, because I have like 4 boards in front of me while I'm talking, with large writing, with the thick dry eraser.
Yes.
And then
Yes,
I have
yes,
my
yes,
tablet right here for backup in case something goes awry.
yes. Nice.
So it's so much that goes on before you even do the show, even the research. I mean, to do a half-hour show, that's maybe 3 days of work.
Yeah, I don't think people really realize, too, what type of work and time that it goes into doing a podcast. Because, I mean, people, assumption-wise, because I don't even think I really realize it sometimes. When the assumption is that you sit there and you have a conversation with somebody, which you could literally have a conversation with somebody and never even really have, like, a falter or a pause or a hiccup, but it's still, you have to edit it, you still have to make sure that it's together, you still have to make sure that it's clean,
Right.
and crisp. You also have to make sure in which that you, when you post it, that it's at the right time and all that other stuff. There's a whole lot that goes into actually the podcast, making it successful.
Definitely is. I mean, it is that window of opportunity, and then all the writing I do, and then some of the stuff I don't use at all. So I put it to the side to possibly use at a later date. Maybe somebody can use it if I have this person as a guest sometime, or if something crazy happens during the week with a recount with that particular team or player or situation, I can bring it back up then. Or if something in the business world of motivation comes up with that particular situation, I use it that way. But I don't, it's like there's no waste in the notes that you have, depending on what you do. Because I have, 6 televisions that I watch from 4:45 in the morning to 2 p.m. And I write notes the whole day. And then after that, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I put it together like a great detective on a NCIS or something like that. I try to make everything I wrote down to make sense for tomorrow's show.
So you plan each day for the next show?
Like, I start in September. That's football season. So I know Monday is the breakdown of what happened Sunday. I know Tuesday is more about what happened Monday Night Football. Wednesday is more about me pumping up the podcast episode.
Gotcha.
And Thursday, more football. Friday, the weekend.
I'm about to look.
So-
I'm about to tune into your football. Just saying, because I'll be like, "Oh, what happened? I didn't get to watch it because I was watching my boy. What happened on the?"
Now, I don't break down
Yes.
every play. I just find something in the game. I'm like, wait a minute. I know somebody else had to see that. So I find something in the game that'll bring interest to me of more of a who's to blame situation. That's how I think of it first.
Gotcha.
And then I write it down on my board. And I color code everything. Everything has a color coordination to make sense to go in the show, a particular order of the day of the week. Like, hey, I can bring that back up again.
Nice.
Like now, I'm ghost writing because I see things and I write it down and just put all these notes aside. And I know over the summer break, this is all the things that I witnessed, and I want to talk
about
that
during the
first
podcast.
month of the show. I have so much material on what I did over the summer.
So if I want to find you, say if I want to start tuning into your podcast, how do I find you?
There you go. The podcast is Who's to Blame the Podcast. You can pick it on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast at. But I also have a website,
Okay.
DreMontez.com. For the old people out there, www.DreMontez.com. That's the best way to find it. But we're on Facebook, Instagram, X or Twitter. What else
Everywhere.
out there? Yeah, we're all over the place right there.
Yes.
Dre Montez, Who's to Blame the Podcast. We'll be
Nice.
back up September 2nd is the
September
first
2nd.
show.
Nice.
Be back at it, live
And
action.
what time?
11 a.m. Central Standard
Standard
Time.
time. Nice. Nice,
Yep,
nice, nice.
there it is right there.
Cool.
Have 550 episodes up right now of the podcast.
Nice. If I want to find old ones, where do I go? Same place?
You can still go there.
Okay.
You can go there as well as on
Because I got to check you out beforehand. just saying.
Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Play. Again, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, just type in Who's to Blame the Podcast. Come right on up for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for coming to talk to me and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hope you found out enough about Dre Montez, good people.
I did. Thank you.
It's right there.